puta vida. No me recuerdes. Siénteme. I would tell my sister I spent all day writing, when in reality, in Puerto Rico it was so much easier. Alviso is in prison. Blanca is in prison. I can barely lift my head most days. Tú, miel de cortesana hipocresías. We work on losing our accents. Never utter another word in Spanish. Prisionera de tus quejas. You'd rather tie yourself to your sorrows? How could I belong to another when I never allowed them to be mine? All men are the same. All men. I need to call my sister.
No me recuerdes, siénteme. Hay solo un trino entre tu amor y mi alma. Mis dos ojos navegan, el mismo azul sin fin, donde tú danzas.
Your rainbow of dreams always has in me an open meadow among mountains. Once my sobs were lost, and I found them sheltered in your tears.
No me recuerdes, siénteme. Un ruiseñor nos tiene en su garganta. Los ríos que me traje de mis riscos desembocan tan solo por tus playas.
There is confusion of flight in the air. The wind carries us in its sandals. Don't remember me. Feel me. The less you think of me, the more you love me.
Empire of Solitude, Episode 1.
June 28th, 1953. A Sunday like any other, until I left the house without even a goodbye. Puta vida. What am I going to do with this feast? ¿Y el vino? ¿Dónde está? Thank you. Tú sabes, I would tell my sister I spent all day writing, when in reality I couldn't get out a word until I had taken a walk, smoked half a pack, made myself a plate of something. Bread and butter, with a slice of jamón, like we had on the island. Puerto Rico. Not this trash pile called Nueva York. In Puerto Rico, it was so much easier. Wake up, make myself coffee, go to the panaderia, find somewhere near the water and the salt in the air, the wind against my face. The words came so easier then. I didn't even have to drink before I could write, though I often did. That's what this fucking country does to us. I had to be worked up in a frenzy of activity and emotion to remind myself why I was alive before the words could come to me. That's a lie. Sometimes what I'd be searching for in my walks and routines, my little habits were reasons not to die. And when I couldn't bring myself to end it all, I'd write. My sister always hated when I say that. She never wanted me to stay with her.
Is that why we didn't say goodbye, Poetess?
Not just today. I never do.
It's for the best. That people don't know where we are.
Revolutionary, what the hell are you talking about?
Our secret admirers. The men in black hats with square jaws.
I try not to think of them. Last time I said anything, my sister had me put away for a month.
She would always ask, why would the FBI ever follow you? Totalitarian regimes always go after artists and intellectuals. If they'll lock up farmers and students, why not a poet? Albizu is in prison. Blanca is in prison. Thousands of our comrades on the island are gone, dead, disappeared, stolen in the night, a generation silenced, our entire nation.
Aren't you supposed to lift my spirits and tell me it was all worth something?
Hope isn't lost, but a good soldier knows when the tides have turned, and we are backs against the walls. If they did stuff you in a car, take you to some basement and tie you up, would you give up on our people?
Never.
Even through torture.
There are worse things than death. I've been married after all.
It's a sign of weakness from the Americans. They can't defeat us. So, they turn us against each other, kill us from the inside.
It's a sign of weakness that the strategy works.
That is why our work is never done. We need leaders with inspiring words to hold us together.
I wish words were enough. What do I have otherwise? I could never fire a gun. I could never take a man's life. Well, maybe if it were an American. Who am I kidding? It's not like the Albizu and Martis of the world.
Don't sell yourself short. People need inspiration. People need to express themselves. And that expression does help in its own way. How else will people know what we are going through? If we allow the Yankees to tell our story, then there will be no hope.
Would our people even rise up after what they've done to us?
If anyone can do it, it's Albizu. He will be free again.
His revolution didn't work the first time.
Most revolutions fail at first. Mi amor, not everyone is cut out to be a soldier. Take pride in our poems.
I love poetry, but given the state of the world, what good are words?
Words lift up the souls of our people.
I can barely lift my head most days.
We should probably drink less.
This world is too shitty not to have vices. Let me have mine. Feminine is here. I'd be a much happier woman if politics were all that ailed me.
Nobody has started eating?
We're waiting for the wife.
Why do we even invite her?
She is us, and we are her. We can't choose our minds.
There may not be enough wine.
I can always ask for more. Mozo, más vino. It's that easy.
I feel heavy today. Life is a prison, and I wish to be free. The sun is shining in despair at my sorrowful heart.
Los pájaros que cantan están todos afinados. Himnos eternos de libertad. Dentro de mi tierra de silencio, y mi alma responde soledad.
Es sol. Solo es sol inmortal.
Is shining in despair at my sorrowful heart.
¿Por qué mi alma pide solo soledad? Mi sonrisa depende de soledad. Mis ojos están llenos de soledad. Y yo soy toda soledad en un corazón rebelde.
Married 3 times, and have married a 4th that would somehow be more laudable than if I just stayed single. I'm clearly meant to be alone.
But with the face so fair, how could you ever deny a man his bride and a son his mother?
Men can be single and middle-aged and still be charming, but a woman...
We all know the boring story, how miserable it is to be a gender that only matters when it's caged.
If only a woman could be miserable for purely existential reasons. There are so many. La vacidad de los espacios entre nosotros y los demás. The lack of understanding in the words we say, even when they couldn't be clearer. Help. I'm drowning.
That sorrow need not have anything to do with what is between my legs or hanging from my chest or the isolation of only existing through a man's eyes. Men get to live their lives. Women can only attempt to live one. Any time we manage to overcome and breathe freely, the hands of 1,000 men pull us back into the shadows. The only evidence of our existence is our words.
All the pretty words and phrases and assertions, declarations of need and desire, I can put every syllable into a tidy box with instructions, and the person I give them to will arrange the words as they please instead of how I intended. So why speak at all? Maybe the despair on my face will tell you better than the most finely crafted sentence, but only if you see me in the first place.
If they even look you in the eye. If they could just do that and see the way I stare back, with all the love and yearning my heart can contain, how can I ever be more than alone?
Don't despair. We should eat. There is no clarity on an empty stomach.
We should wait.
You know, she'll kill our appetite.
But it'll be rude.
No more than she already is. We will never overcome anything if we wait for permission. What hypocrisies are we to speak of longing for connection and understanding, and then be passive about fixing it? She's late. We're hungry. Fuck her. Let's eat. Through action, we prove our worth, not through idle complaining and judgment.
We've already spent a lifetime.
Then we'll live another life if we have to.
The past is devastating, the present is disappointing, and the future is shorter than you think.
Then, let's make the most of it. A comer! It wasn't supposed to be this way. In exile, in my oppressor's country, paying them taxes and speaking their language, adopting their customs. If I leave el barrio, I have to control how I speak so I don't offend or scare the white people. Even in el barrio, I have to stay silent as I see my own people forbidding their children from speaking Spanish, erasing us and being proud of it. I should have been on the island fighting with Albizu. I should have raised a flag over Carolina like Blanca did in Jayuya. Fuese mejor si yo muriera peleando los yanquis en cambio de vivir como perra, eating white people's trash and thanking them for it.
A country where our only value is if we are fair enough that a white man will marry us, erasing our savage Spanish name for a refined British one that demands respect. We will make friends with other white women who will be charmed by our Latina flavor. We'll be the fun friend who makes them feel progressive, and will be so desperate for acceptance that when they trivialize our culture and make fun of our accents, we'll tell ourselves that their mockery is love.
So we work on losing our accents and adopting white Christian values and never utter another word in Spanish. We won't even teach our children our customs. We'll bury our shame under the banner of the futures of immigration. Within 2 generations, our families will talk about strong American heritage, traced through our father's side, and whisper under their breaths about how once upon a time an ancestor slept with a Puerto Rican, and someone will joke, that's where you get your attitude from. Not their intelligence or class or dignity. We lost that the minute we submitted to a white man.
Women lost their dignity the minute they believed the smartest way to survive was submitting to any man.
They're good for fun and little else.
In spite of it all, I can't give up on the idea that love can be found with a man who sees my strength as a virtue, and that my intelligence and spirit will make him love me more.
I wish I could share your idealism, but I've shared too many beds with ungrateful, selfish, cowardly men.
And you blame them for that? You have control over when and where to open your legs, and yet it's the man's fault when you choose wrong.
Wife, you finally join us. Dime, when there are so many shitty men, is it really a choice or a biological necessity?
You can choose chastity and only sleep with the one man who gives you everything you desire.
Then I would have died a virgin.
Have a seat.
I see you've all eaten.
We were hungry, and you were late.
I was debating whether to join you at all. I don't feel very welcome these days.
You remind her of our sister.
Because I'm not a mess? Because I know who I am? Or is it because you think your sister settled with her crying babies, an idiot husband, and comfortable, forgettable life in your eyes? But in hers, she's taking care of a family, raising human beings she made with her own body, a fucking miracle. But she's the one with the wasted life. That's how you see people like us. People not so unlike your own mother. You look down on me while you eat the meal I prepared? The one that made me late, cleaning the dishes, and I don't even get a fucking thank you? You think I settled for something that you've been too wise to avoid? Where's your revolution that shakes the status quo to its core and decolonizes Puerto Rico? Didn't you have to settle after bombs leveled Utuado? And the revolution left thousands dead or imprisoned on the island in the name of a changing world? Now that your utopia is nothing but ashes, what do you fight for? A compromise, of course. Because no amount of righteousness and marching in the streets is going to change the fact that you have no power. So you look for moral victories when morality has never freed a single person, least of all from their delusions. And you, with your pretty words, crying out from Welfare Island with laments for a life you haven't even earned. You think a wife and mother can just give up? We don't have the privilege. No matter how dark the days become, we wake up, take care of our loved ones, and struggle to hang on for another day with the slim hope that tomorrow will be better. And yet you get a few setbacks and you call it quits. Your sister never would. But instead of seeing the valor and nobility in her character, all you see is a nagging bitch. I didn't like Welfare Island either, but at least it occurred to me that the intent was good. She wanted to help. But when you have no hope, what help is there to offer? What else is your family supposed to do? If you won't fight for yourself, at least fight for her. If you're found dead on a street corner, it'll change her life forever, and that of her kids and everyone else's who loves you. Is that enough of a reason to lift your head and see another day? You'd rather settle for despair and then have the audacity to tell me that is somehow more noble than settling for comfort.
Who you are is nothing to be proud of. People already murmur that I am your enemy, because they say in verse, I give the world myself. They lie. Julio de Burgos. They lie. Julio de Burgos. The one that rises in my verses is not your voice. It is my voice, because you are clothing and the essence is me. And the most deep chasm stretches between the two.
Tú eres fría muñeca de mentira social. Y yo, viril destello de la humana verdad. Tú, miel de cortesana hipocresías. Yo no, que en todos mis poemas desnudo el corazón.
You are like your world, selfish. I do not, that in everything I play to be what I am. You are not only the grave lordy lady, I do not. I am the life, the force, the woman. You belong to your husband, to your master, I do not. I of nobody, or of all, because to all and all my clean feeling and all of my thinking I give myself.
Tú te rizas el pelo y te pintas. Yo no. A mí me riza el viento. A mí me pinta el sol. Tú eres dama casera, resignada, sumisa, atada a los prejuicios de los hombres. Yo no.
You'd rather tie yourself to your sorrows. Prisionera de tus quejas. Me habla como tu desesperación es un signo de dignidad. I have a purpose. You live your life bemoaning all you haven't done and all that others haven't done for you, as if happiness is a birthright. There is no happiness in chaos. If there were, you would have found it. How many stays in Welfare Island will you need before you realize that wishing for another world is no way to live?
Imprisoning yourself in fake bonds of marriage is any better?
I have stability, security, a reason for being.
Having kids and being a servant for ungrateful husbands?
You were never very good at either.
Yes, because I wanted to be free to love in my own language and free to make love with my entire soul. Ecstatic love born from desire, not obligation.
I never would have thought your desire was to find love when you had so many. Nearly every man you ever met, you slept with, And what did that do for you?
And being divorced 3 times is something to be proud of.
At least I tried. Not that any of you ever made it easy.
We never wanted to be alone. We only wanted to be ourselves, fully, like men. We have that right too.
There is no such thing as right. We are only as good as our lot in life. Privilege is given. And to be married is the only guarantee a woman has that she matters. At least to one idiot in the world, anyway.
I would rather matter to my island, to my people.
Then why are you here? You really think the diaspora cares about the island?
Being Puerto Rican is more than when you are born. Nuestras raíces siguen hasta las profundidades de la tierra. We are the entire earth, not just an island. We are the seeds of continents and the currents of oceans.
We are rejects. We couldn't make it in our homelands, and so now we are visitors in a land that would rather exterminate us than feed us.
I suppose your answer would be to marry an American?
Men of every race are the same. If they want to use my body, I'll use their privilege to give myself a soft bed.
And Valium to numb your guilty conscience.
Do you desire death so deeply that you think survival's a vice?
I need to call my sister.
I need to call my sister.
Survival alone is not life. There is no joy in survival.
You must not remember the wardrobe from our first marriage, because I found plenty of joy.
That's not what I remember.
What I remember were loves that started like bonfires and ended in ash. And others that started as ash, which I kept trying to reignite, only to find that it would never be more than the remains of my hope.
Whether fire or ash, I was only smoke to the ones I loved, drifting away to another shore, another bed, another name. Never honey or dear, but worst of all, never yours.
How could I belong to another when I never allowed them to be mine?
How could I love when I could not be myself?
What do you remember of our lost loves?
All men are the same, no matter what masks they wear.
I'm sick of men. I'm sick of them dominating my mind and shackling my reality with their chains.
If I am to be left with my memories, I'd erase every man and replace him with a woman, so I can move past their facades to reveal the truth that only a woman can see.
Empire of Solitude is a flamboyant theater production presented by Boricuas Unidos en la Diaspora and inspired by the poetry of Julia de Burgos. Empire of Solitude was directed by Nade Cortez, written by John Marcantoni, with sound design by Veronica Straitlingo, and stars Nade Cortez as Julia, Lauren Michelle Long as Poetess, Laura Madrid as Feminine, Giselle Gonzalez as Revolutionary, and Denise Zubizarreta as Wife. Flamboyant Theater is a performing arts theater in Denver, Colorado that focuses on uniting Puerto Ricans who share the love of music, poetry, theater, and most importantly, the place we call home, Puerto Rico. Please share and leave a review for this show, and we encourage you to learn more about the life and work of Julia de Burgos.